In today's conversation, I am going to talk to you about what you need to look for in a new job. And I decided to have this conversation because when we are looking for a job, or most of the time when people are looking for jobs, we never really think of what it is or what is in that job beyond the money, beyond the benefits that we are looking for. And of course, I'm not saying that benefits are bad, because we're also looking for a new job just to ensure or just to see our pockets become a bit fatter than they were. But there are unique things, or there are hidden things in a job that we fail to look at, or that job seekers fail to consider at the point of looking for a job, or even at the point of signing an offer if you get a new job, that ultimately catch up with us and make us quit jobs very fast. Also, I decided to have this conversation because there are a lot of movements. People are moving, like in the marketplace, in the job market. The job market is in a speed every now and then. I am not against moving, but I promise you, there are some movements that are premature. There are instances that you find people leaving jobs when really they were not supposed to leave. Why? Because of failing to consider these 10 things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So if you're getting yourself here for the first time, my name is Nelly, and in this channel I have amazing conversation about workplace, about job search strategies, about interview preparations, and my aim is to make you a better professional and to help you build a rewarding and fulfilling career. So if you're here for the first time, please don't finish watching this video before you hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer and you've not subscribed, ensure that you do so, because I welcome you to this community where we're all about learning. So let's get into this conversation. As I said, why I feel you need to consider these 10 things when you're looking for a new job is because they will see that you become stable. They will determine your level of satisfaction in that job. They will result into your stability in the job. They will result, or rather determine, your ability to deliver and give your best in that job. And they will determine your growth in that company. So what is the first thing that you need to look for? And why do you need to look for it? Or why do you need to consider it in a new job? Here is the thing. Before you accept that offer, or as you're looking for a new job, you need to consider the location where that job is. And when I talk of location, I can talk about so many things. I can talk about, is it a job that requires you to relocate? I can talk about, is it a job that requires you to shift houses? You know, even if you're not relocating to a new country, maybe you're moving from one house to the other. Is it a job that will require you to be waking up at 4 a.m. if you're waking up at 6 a.m.? Is it in a place where you will be having to commute and connect like 3 or 4 public means of transport? So those are the things I want you to consider. And the reason I want you to consider that is because if you are not comfortable, you'll get tired. If it is a job that the job is located so far and you'll be having to wake up at 3:30 every day, and it is not something you used to, it will not be sustainable. If it is a job that will need you to leave your family in one country to go to another one, and you have a young family, or you're not used to staying away from your family. I have seen people leave jobs because they want to go back to their family. If it is a job that will maybe if you have a partner, will force you to see your partner also leave their job to join you, or one of you, whatever it is, but it will distract your current family setup. I promise you, it will make you uncomfortable before you know it. And sooner than you know it, you'll be resigning to look for another job that is more comfortable. So consider the location and ensure that you're comfortable with that location. Is it a job that takes you to a new place that you don't know, where maybe there will be language barrier, where there is hardship that you're not used to? It's quite important that you consider that bit. So consider location and ensure that you're comfortable with that location. Or at least if you're not comfortable with it, it is something that you can put up with. If it's going to shift your lifestyle in terms of you having to move to a new house, you having to move houses, you having to connect maybe different buses or trains or whatever in the morning, ensure that it is something that you're comfortable with and you can sustain it. Or else you'll see yourself getting into that job and quitting long before you know it. So the next thing you should look for in a new job is growth opportunities. While at the point of looking for a job, I know sometimes you could be in a very needy situation. I don't want to call it desperate, in a very needy situation because you don't have a source of income. But if you're really self-aware and you're conscious about your growth, you want to get into a job that has growth opportunities for you. And how do you know that this job has growth opportunities? So in the interview of that job, you should endeavor to ask questions around how are the career paths in that job? What does the growth trajectory looks like? Is it a job that you can be promoted? How long does promotion take? And give me the history of this job. Are people being promoted? People are my predecessors or the previous occupants of this job, how frequently were they being promoted? So you want to understand the job in a deeper way to help you assess if you'll be able to grow in this job. So see a job in this lens, that in 2 years, or in 1 year, there are opportunities for growth for you. If you're not going to look at it in that way, you will get into a job, and in 2 years or in 1 year, you realize you've already exhausted everything you need to do in that job. Then it begins to become boring. And it begins, you put you in a situation where, you've ever been in a job and you're telling yourself, like, so what new skill am I really learning here? So look for growth opportunities in a job. It is very, very important. Look for growth opportunities. Look for a leeway, if there's a chance for you to grow into that job. And apart from the growth opportunities, like promotions, like role expansions, look for what are the training opportunities. Is the company taking you for external trainings? Do they have internal trainings? Are they supporting you to go back to school? Is it a company that supports you to go back to school? And one thing you need to have in mind, of course, it's quite important, just a disclaimer that I want to give you. It's quite important that you look for these 10 things. But of course, I want to be cognizant of the fact that it will not be easy to get a job that offers all. And that will bring me to something I always like to say, that be very clear about what is your top priority. So if growth opportunities are your top priorities, look for a job with growth opportunities. If whatever it is that I'm going to mention in the 10 is your top priority, so at least in this 10, choose 5, 6, or whatever number that are your top priorities, and you need to focus keenly. But at least don't settle for a job that will miss all these 10 things. It will frustrate you, I promise you. You will get frustrated. And now let's see the third thing that you need to consider in a new job. The third thing is benefits. So you need to consider benefits. And guys, benefits goes beyond the salary. While the salary is a good thing to look at, benefits goes beyond the salary. So you need to ask yourself, what are the benefits that this job has? And in the benefits, I also encourage you to look for what to prioritize. So a job will provide you a salary, and a job will provide you other benefits like allowances, bonuses, pensions, medical insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, leave allowances. What are the benefits that this job has? Because most of the time, we might leave a very, very good job or a job that has very good benefits only for you to rush because you've seen the salary is high for this job. And you go there and you realize that high salary actually means there's no any other thing. If you had a job that was giving you a good medical insurance cover, you had a job that was giving you a very lucrative pension contribution from your employer and maybe from yourself. You had a good job that was giving you paid time offs, a good job that was giving you paid holidays. Then you leave it because you've seen a job is adding you maybe maybe $1,000 extra, $100 extra, 500, whatever it is extra. Then you rush for it without considering what it is that is in that job beyond. So it's important, that you consider the benefits, because at the end of it all, you need to be in a job that you're comfortable. So consider what are the benefits in this job beyond the salary. It's important. It will make you more comfortable and it will increase your satisfaction in that job. So that brings me to my next point, which is the company. You need to consider the company that you want to work for or you want to work with. And the things you need to consider about a company are quite a number. Number one key thing you need to consider is stability of the company. You need to consider the stability of the company because you don't want to get into a business or a place that is not stable, that your job security is not guaranteed. Even though the job security might not be guaranteed, but at least if the company is stable, there are always higher chances of you staying there for a long time. You also need to research about the company, guys, and this is not just a buzzword. It's not just something that maybe interview experts will be telling you. It's really important. And if you've ever gotten into a company with a lot of litigation issues, you'll agree with me or you'll understand what I'm saying, that it's important for you to research and understand the history and the details about the company. What you need to be looking for when researching about the company is, what is the history of that company? How long has it been in the market? Does it have any negative media publications? Does it have any litigations? You know that some companies that if you just get in online and search the name of that company, what comes first or what greets you is a lot of negative reviews from previous employees. You need to check the reviews about the previous employees. You need to get to know what are the previous employees, who are the greatest ambassadors of any company saying about that employer. So you want to look, just to recap this, you want to look at the stability of the company. You want to get to understand the history of that company. You want to get to know about it through the lens of the previous employees who are the great ambassadors, and they will really help you to know more about how the culture of the company looks like. You want to be sure that you're not getting into a company that has a lot of litigations. Of course, a company can have a litigations, and that one, most of it may be from other things, but you need to, if there are so many, if people are complaining how people are being treated badly, you need to also get to know that the company is not dealing in something that is not legalized. The company has not been sued for fraud. The company has not been sued for dealing in goods or services that are not legalized. The company has not been sued for conning people, in whatever way. So it's quite important for you to get to know about the company. So you always ensure that, I say that hiring interviews, they are mutual evaluations where both you and the company are evaluating each other. So ensure you get it right from the entry point. And that brings me to my next point, which is about working hours. You need to consider the working hours, and if you're somebody who's very keen on when do I get into the office and when do I leave, does this job has overtime? Do I work overtime? Do I work at night? Does it have shifts? It's very important that you understand. For example, if maybe you're a lady or you are a woman and you have a small baby, you, sincerely speaking, you may be comfortable about working in a setup where you work at night, because it's the time that maybe you need to be with your baby or you need to be at home for your children. So you need to understand the working hours of the company. You also need to work to understand in terms of, does your job require you to work over the weekend? Does your job require you to work to support? Is it a support function that will require you to be online or requires you to be available to support even on public holidays? Does it require you to be available to support maybe your team working, offering 24-hour support system? I mean, offering your clients 24-hour support. So you need to deeply understand the working hours. If you don't understand and you get into a job and you realize the job requires you to get to work by 6 or by 7 and leave by 4, and maybe while where you stay you can't manage to get to work as early as 7, the job requires you to leave late in the night, the job requires you to work at night, the job requires you to be available over the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, or maybe Fridays to support your team, it will frustrate you. And these things you get to understand about a job when you ask questions. I had done an amazing video on the best 15 questions that you can ask in an interview. I'll just link it here because it will give you quite good questions that you can ask to test or to discover some of these 10 things that I'm discussing in this conversation today. And that brings me to my next point, which is about work-life integration. I don't want to call it work-life balance because really I like being very real, and I say we may never achieve that balance, but we can achieve a great integration. So you need to look for work-life integration. I believe and I love being in a space where I can be able to give my best in my job and I still have a quality personal life. So work-life integration, you will be looking for things, for an environment or for a job that offers flexibility in work. You know, does this job offer flexibility in that I don't have to appear in the office physically, but I can be able to work remotely? Does it have hybrid type of work that some days I can choose to be in the office and some days I can choose to work from home? And even if it doesn't have that hybrid or remote work, does it allow me to, does it have a flexible working hours where I can decide to come to work at 12 and leave at 8? I can decide to come to work at 6 in the morning and leave at 1. I can come at 6 and leave at 4. Yeah, and I think also, genuinely speaking, we also need to come from a thinking or an evaluation where we want to see our employees in the office to just coming from a point where we want to see what are the employees able to deliver, because I believe we are working in a space already where we are result oriented. So that, can this employee be able to deliver results even if they're not in the office? Or can they be able to deliver the result without necessarily coming to work at 8 to 5? You know, we need to shift intentionally about the work schedules of 8 to 5 to creating flexible environment, creating flexible hours where employees can be able to deliver their best but still have quality personal life. Also, when you look for work-life integration, you also need to ask questions around what are the type of support that this job or the employer offers for you as an employee, maybe when you're on leave. Do they pay things like leave allowance so that you have an ample time maybe to be able to afford to have a good time when you're off work? You know, what are the leave days like? What are the off days like? Are they paid holidays? So you need to ask these questions and be able to determine the type of environment, if it will give you or it will allow you for a work-life integration. Next, you need to consider is the job itself. And why you need to consider the job itself is for your own satisfaction. And even though I still emphasize the fact that I am cognizant that sometimes when we are looking for jobs, we are in a very needy situation, you need to understand the job that you're going to do. Because what sometimes happens is that you get into a job and you realize you're extremely overqualified for that job. And I've seen that happen so many times. Until you get to a point where you realize that there's nothing new that you're doing. So when you're considering the job itself, here are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Is this job giving me an opportunity to learn new skills? Is this job putting me in a place to develop a new skill that I need for my next level? How challenging are the responsibilities of this job? Will this job allow me a space or put me in a space where I will be challenged to create, innovate, and actually come up with new things? Is this job giving me an allowance to try and test the things that I want to learn? So you need to deeply understand what are the opportunities available for you in that job to grow a skill that is needed or that is important for you for your next level. So just beyond the title, I know we are quite amazed with titles. I like titles, they're a good thing, but really just beyond the title, what is the capacity that that job is giving you? Is it going to build you, or is it going to be a job where you feel like because you already have more skill, you're underutilizing your skills? So look at the job itself beyond the title. Titles are beautiful things, but understand what challenges will it give you beyond just the title, beyond just being called a senior something, beyond just being called a lead, beyond just being called a manager. What skills will it help you to build, which will make you ready for your next level? And that brings me to my next point on what you need to consider, and this is the work environment. I know you'll ask, so how do I know about the work environment? And I've not even worked there. And sometimes I agree with you that this question cannot be answered correctly in the interview. Of course, if the environment is not good, the panelist may not be very honest with you to tell you that, here, this is how the environment look like. This is how the environment look like. But let me teach you how you can learn a bit of the environment when you're during the interview process or during the hiring process. So if it's a physical interview, you even stand a better chance because you can always read the people. You can read the people from the gate, how people react from the gate, from the reception, to your own panelists who are interviewing you. You can tell, if you're keen, you can tell a company where people are happy. You can listen to conversations as people pass when you're waiting for your interview. You can see how the panelists treat you. If you get to those interviews where panelists are very rude, very arrogant, harassing you, please just know that themselves are being treated badly, or the environment is not friendly. The environment, it has high pressure. Of course, I know sometimes it can be a personality issue for the panelist, but a negative energy can't be across for everyone. So look for that vibration, look for that energy when you're doing your interviews, when you're going for even physical or virtual interviews. Then another way that you can actually tell about the work environment also, and I think nowadays we are in a very fair world, guys, because when you go to LinkedIn and just search for that company, you will get a list of all the people who work there. And the best thing sometimes is not even to ask the people who work there. Ask the people who had worked there previously, because you can also see former employees. And the people who had left there are the best people that can give you. I think I've used that trick in real life. That was a few years ago when I was looking for a job, and I went and asked a specific person who had left the exact job I was being hiring for. And they told me, no, please. And I understand this can also be a very subjective process depending on what time somebody left, but you can try to reach as many people as possible. Many voices cannot be wrong. Many voices cannot be wrong. So you need to research and ask those questions. And the last bit that you can also just know the environment is to directly ask those questions and see how the panelists respond to you. If they're trying to hide something, you can actually pick. So ask questions around how does the work environment look like? Ask them, okay, for how long have you been here? So what is it that you found about so much interesting about working for this company? What has been your highs and your lows? What have been your best exciting moments about working for this company? Then you can be able to pick about the environment. And why does the environment matter? Because we work, it's in the workplace where we stay more hours than we stay anywhere else, especially during the working days. So a place where you'll be spending your 8 hours, your 10, 11, 12, whatever hours you spend at work, you got to know that it is a perfect place that will give you peace, that will give you happiness, and that will give you comfort. So you want to ask as many questions as possible to help you and know more about the work environment. Then the next thing, which for me is very key, that you should never ever ignore, is the team that you'll be working with. I always tell people that you can be in a very toxic company, but the few members of your team that you work with are amazing. You will never feel the toxicity. You will never feel the badness of the company, or even at least if you'll feel it, it will be minimal. While you can work in a very good company where everyone praises the culture, the work environment, but you have a toxic team, the small team, maybe your boss, your colleagues, your peers just around your department are extremely toxic, I promise you it will be hell for you. So you need to ask questions about the team. You need to understand the team as much as possible. And using ways, of course, like maybe checking them out on LinkedIn may or may not give you the truth information, but because maybe people may not open up, but you need to even research about the person you're going to be reporting to. You need to, once you go to the interview, of course, the hiring manager will be there. You can maybe ask around. We are nowadays in a connected world. And may I say, saying that you can't find information about someone, to be very honest, is really a cake, So you need to ask as much information. So let me give you a question that you can ask your boss to also test your boss to test the type of person that they are. You can ask them, like, how do you grow your people? How do you give feedback? At what point do you give feedback? You need to understand, what is your leadership style? So ask your line manager or your boss to be asked many questions as possible, especially when they're in that interview, to understand. Also ask questions around the team. So what is so good about the current team? What are the strengths of the current team? Which type of skills are lacking in the current team that you like to fill or that you're looking for in the new hire? You can even ask, what do you struggle with most about the current team? Let us endeavor to make interviews very genuine conversations. So ask as many questions as possible about the team. You want to know about their personalities. You want to know about the skills that they have. You want to know about the skills that they value. Ask them, how frequently do you do team building? How frequently does the team hang out together? So you want to also see what is the level of engagement? What is the level of teamwork in that current team? Because if you land or if you get yourself in a wrong team, it will exhaust you. It will actually lead to your premature exits. And these 10 things, we are having this conversation so that we just get, these 10 things actually help us to stay longer in jobs, because they increase satisfaction and they ensure that you're happy in your job. That brings me to my last point, which for me, it's a great point that you need to consider, is the tools and technology. Hey guys, we are in a highly technologically enabled world currently. And you realize that most companies have also automated, at least most have automated, not all. So you want to be sure that you know how to work with the tool or the technology that the company work with. If it is a system, because if you don't know, I promise you, it's going to frustrate you. So ask about the technology, ask about the tools that they work with, and really, if it is something that you're not well conversant with, then you may want to, during that time that you're serving your notice, your 1 month, your 2 weeks as you wait, you may want to just get online, just get someone to take you through that system to learn as much as possible. Because let me connect this this point also with when you get into a bad team. Imagine if you get into a bad team and you get a system that you don't know and nobody's willing to train you, you will get frustrated. So be very keen on understanding the technology that they use, the systems, the processes, and the tools that they use. And if it is not something that you're well conversant with, then give yourself a challenge that as you wait to join the company during the time you're serving your notice, or at least because you've known about it, you become very intentional on learning on it. So those are the 10 points that I wanted to give you. And if you've gotten a new job, congratulations, but please don't forget to consider these 10 things. So thank you for watching, guys. And as always, I encourage you to join this community by subscribing, liking, sharing this content. If it has changed your life, if it has impacted your life, let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to share with your friends. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.